Well, good morning. Welcome back to Coffee with Tim. My name is Tim Hake Sr. I'm a speaker, author. I have Parkinson's disease, and I am a PD Avenger. Welcome to Coffee with Tim, a conversation of life and Parkinson's. And today, in support of U-Turn Parkinson's Wellness Center, whose goal is to empower you in your pursuit of wellness. Visit www.uturnpd.org and discover the many resources available to empower you. So, how's your month been? Mine has been, well, both good and bad. It's been mostly good, though. I am thrilled to death that in Manitoba, the forecast for today is 35. And folks, when you live with minus 30s, minus 20s for such a long period of the year, when it hits plus 30, it's a day to celebrate. So it is plus 30 in Manitoba today, sunny, wonderful blue skies, and looking forward to a good day. I have with me this morning Eleanor Burstetta, my birth mom. Hello. Welcome to the party. And if you are tuning in, make sure you say hello in the chat. Let me know who's here. If you're on Facebook, make sure you give us a thumbs up and a heart. That helps us reach more folks. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And then if you're on Facebook as well, make sure that you like my page. All those things will allow you to know when I'm on live and what's going on in a more timely fashion. So yes, Heather Wells, good morning. And Chuck, I'm waiting for you. You texted me and asked me if we were on this morning, so here I am. So let's go. Well, I'm very excited by the guests that I have with me this morning. Larry Gifford is not only a friend of mine, but he is the guy who is making waves literally around the world, impacting Parkinson's, the Parkinson's community for the good, and wreaking havoc on PD itself. So I'm excited to get to share our friendship a little bit with you this morning, talk to him, get to know him a little bit better, and tell you what's going on in the world. Good morning, Abe and Betty. How you guys doing? Geraldine, good to see you. How's things in the UK? Doing well? It's evening there, I guess, or middle of the afternoon. Donna Lee from Chicago. How's the Windy City? Love Chicago. I was watching a show last night, well, The Fugitive, if you remember that show. What's his name is in it? I want to say Liam Neeson, but having a Parky moment here, or an old man moment. And I'll bring Larry on. He'll tell me who the actor is. But good to see you guys. Love Chicago. Haven't been there for a long time. Need to make my way back. Janice, good morning. Dorothy, good morning. Good to see everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in and coming back to see me. Welcome, Larry Gifford. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
How's the world in BC?
Great. First off, a couple things. You're talking Canadian. 30 degrees is 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So for our U.S. friends. And also, Tommy Lee Jones and Harrison Ford were in The Fugitive.
Harrison Ford, there we go. That's who I was trying to think of. Tommy Lee was in there too. He's a young man. Both of those guys are young men in that movie. It's made a long time ago. And I quite enjoyed it. That's twice now that I've watched it in probably 2 months.
No, it's a good movie.
It's a good movie. Rosemary and Ken, good morning. There you are, Chuck. Good to see you. Dorothy Gillis, I think I said hello. But
that's what he looks like. What people don't know what I look like? Chuck, hey!
That's what there it is. I couldn't see who said that, but yeah, Chuck, that's what he looks like. Well, there you go. If you didn't know what Larry Gifford looks like, there he is.
Yeah, I wore a hat for Tim because I know Tim likes his hats.
You can't come on Coffee with Tim without a hat.
Well, yeah. I was going to wear a top hat, but I thought it'd be too formal for a Friday.
Would be a tad formal. Well, Larry, thanks for joining us today. This is a real honor for me and a privilege to share you and our friendship with the rest of the world a little bit. Not that most of the world doesn't already know who you are, but it's a pleasure for me to have you on my show.
I just ride the coattails of you and Sonia. Right? Yeah.
If only that were true. If only that were true. But to give folks, if you don't know who Larry is, he is the National Director for Talk Radio for Chorus Entertainment across Canada. That's a very big deal if you don't know. He is the host of the podcast, the award-winning podcast, When Life Gives You Parkinson's.
Yeah.
He is the host of the Michael J. Fox Foundation's podcast. And of all those things, I consider the most important the fact that he is the co-founder, along with myself and Sonia Mather, of the Global Alliance to End Parkinson's Disease, the PD Avengers.
Yes, that is a very exciting endeavor that we've taken on. I feel like I have 3 full-time jobs now, Tim.
Well, I was going to say, that's a mouthful of stuff. And I mean, Chorus Entertainment's your full-time day job. Co-founder of PD Avengers, I know how much work that takes. And that's minimum on a day-to-day basis, another half-time job. And then co-hosting 2 significant podcasts. That is a lot of stuff.
Yeah, what am I doing? I need to take care of myself. This is why I don't exercise. I'm just too busy.
Oh, come on, folks. Let's hear it. Let's hear the response to that.
Listen, I'm just telling you, I got up early yesterday and got on my TheraCycle after a brutal week. I'm like, you know what? And I was telling Tim I had night terrors the other night for the first time, which is horrible. And I'm like, okay, how am I going to get rid of these night terrors? I'm like, the only thing that used to terrorize me was exercise. So I'm going to use exercise to terrorize my dreams. And so that's what I did. I combated one symptom with another.
Sweet. That is, and did it help? Did you sleep better last night?
I did sleep better last night. Yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna chalk that up purely to exercise.
You can own it. Yep. You are my exercise champion.
Well, we all have Jimmy Choi out there to look up to, and
listen, I do not compete with Jimmy Choi. I do not try to be Jimmy Choi. Jimmy Choi is my friend. I love him to death. I'm so proud of him. We were watching American Ninja Warrior's new season. Can't wait to see him and his daughter on there. But let me just tell you, Jimmy makes me go, oh no, I can't do that.
Yeah. Well, that's how Jimmy leaves most of us thinking. I can't keep up with Jimmy. Not a chance.
Did you see him at the airport in the escalator? He's strapped against the wall and he's jumping up. That was weird.
Yeah,
dude, just stand there and let the escalator do the work.
Yeah, no, I didn't see that particular one, but there are many that the one that has baffled me the most of recent is when he does push-ups and he pushes off the ground and jumps up to a table, a folding table. Yeah.
Now I can do the opposite. I can be doing a push-up on a table and fall to the floor.
Well, there, my friend, we would be exactly equal. Good morning, Brad, Courtney in Kansas City. Good to see you. Betty and Rick. Hope you guys are doing well. Good morning. Good to see you. Evelyn, Janice again. Yes, exercise is very important, super important. Makes a huge difference in my quality of life. That's good to hear, Janice. Thanks for sharing that. And I did something yesterday morning that I haven't done for a long time, and that is get up and run. I've been running, but I've been running in the afternoons. And what a huge difference it made running in the morning yesterday. So I say that to say try mixing things up every now and then a little bit. But Larry, I want to go back to all of your work there, all your jobs. And I want to ask you, how did you get into radio? What was the impetus that got you into radio?
Well, all growing up, I always wanted to be either a rock star or a movie star or an actor or on Broadway or whatever. So I did a lot of theater in high school, and I used to do the morning announcements. Good morning, Westerville North High School. Today's your morning announcements. For lunch today, we've got fish sticks, that type of stuff. And I was the band announcer. And then I auditioned for the theater department at the school I went to, Otterbein University, and got a scholarship grant to attend there. And within the first 4 days, I discovered the radio station and was in love and quit theater and transferred to radio right away. And I was working in the field within 6 months as a producer. At a talk station in Columbus, and I worked there through college. Had a full-time job before I graduated, doing overnight news anchoring and then I would go to school during the day and sleep whenever. And then I hop, skipped, and jumped all over the country. So I was in Columbus, Ohio, then Dayton, Ohio, then Philadelphia, then Los Angeles, back to Ohio, up to Connecticut to work for ESPN, back to LA, and then went up to Seattle, then back to Central Coast, California, and then up to Vancouver, Canada.
Wow. And there is something we have in common. the fact that we're both Americans transplanted now to Canada.
Yeah.
Ohio, Kansas, and you've been here how long now?
5 years.
5 years. Have you got your citizenship yet?
We have our permanent residency. We don't have our citizenship yet, but we feel good about that. We're here, regardless of if I have work or not.
Good. And I have been here. This fall will be 32 years.
Whoa! Do you have your citizenship yet?
Oh yeah. We're not going anywhere.
Are you doing dual, or you just said I'm Canadian?
Well, it didn't. No. I have my both. I have both. I carry both passports, and that is a huge plus. It's a massive plus. And we can go into that sometime. But I am so happy to have both of them. It just makes a huge difference. Now, so you did a lot of work in radio all over the country, all over the United States. What in the world brought you to Canada? Why?
Well, so I was doing news for a while. Then I did talk, and then I got into sports accidentally. Like I was hired to be a reporter at a station in Philadelphia, and they hadn't hired anybody to do sports. I'm like, I kind of know sports. My brothers were into sports. We grew up Reds fans and Bengals fans, and I know the gist of it, but nobody else knew sports. So I just kind of made it up as I went along. I started winning awards because it was so different. And so my wife got a job. We moved to LA, and so I started knocking on doors. And Shaq and Kobe were in the finals the first time they were together. And I started working at a sports radio station in Los Angeles. And I was doing like updates during the game. And then I got hired to be the first voice on Fox Sports Radio. And I was the sports director there for a while. And then ESPN hired me to be their program director of the radio network. I don't know how. I don't know why. I lucked into all these things. I've had a very blessed career. Moved back out to LA to run the ESPN-owned radio station and to help build up their LA Live, their West Coast presence. They have a late-night sports center that comes from LA, and so helped develop that. Drew the Lakers to the local radio station, and then I got into consulting. So I thought I'd consult companies for the most part. I ended up consulting talent all around the world, both radio, TV, mostly morning show hosts and teams. But then Chorus Entertainment hired me in Vancouver to consult their management team for branding and to help fix their, they have a legendary sort of talk station, CKNW. And it was having some troubles, and so I helped them out, and we turned it around, and then they hired me full time.
Oh, that's fantastic. So was it difficult moving to Canada, to Vancouver?
Well, yeah. I mean, it took it's a lot of paperwork and legal stuff and hoops, and you basically have to prove that there's nobody in Canada that has the talent that you have.
Yeah.
And when I suppose nobody does have the resume that I have or the experience that I have, because it is very varied and specific. So we were able to do that. But it took a long time. It's expensive, and the company needs to sponsor you. And people, I know that for about 4 years there, recently, there's a lot of people knocking on my door going, "How did you get there? How do I get there?"
Yeah. So do you see yourself staying in Canada?
Yeah. For now, I mean, I had no reason to leave. I love it here. My son's comfortable here. He's 11. He's in school. My wife's having a great time. We love it in Canada. Yeah, it's really nice.
Well, I can give you one good reason to stay. I can actually give you two good reasons to stay.
Okay. What are those?
Me and healthcare.
Healthcare. Well, so let me tell you something. I got diagnosed with Parkinson's in Canada.
Yeah.
But my onset for about 7 or 8 years happened in the United States. And I may have not gone to the doctor for another 5 years because our coverage, because we were independent contractors, we had no like company healthcare. We were paying it ourselves. It was like $1,400 like a month for zero coverage. I mean, it was basically just like, if you were in a bad accident, we'll cover like $20. It was horrible. But it was bad. And had I been diagnosed with Parkinson's and gotten all the tests and gone to all the specialties and tried to do all the things I'm doing in Canada, I would be bankrupt, I'm sure.
Well, interesting fact. I quote that fact often when I speak, especially in the States. People often during the Q&A sessions will ask me about healthcare in the States because they learn that I grew up in this, or in Canada, rather. They learn I grew up in the States and now live in Canada, and they'll ask me about the differences in healthcare. And I always make sure that I almost always try to point out that the number one cause of bankruptcy in the United States, and fact check me on this all day long, folks. Do some research, look at it. The number one cause of bankruptcy in the United States is healthcare costs.
That's bad.
Yeah. Second is, I believe, loss of job, divorce, relationship breakups, and down the line from there. And 2 and 3, I believe, are Canada's 1 and 2. And I always tell people the thing we lack in Canada, as far as healthcare concerned, is the stress that Americans have with theirs.
Yeah, I don't think twice about going to the doctor or going to a specialist. I mean, people go, well, how expensive is it? I'm like, well, I have never seen a doctor's bill.
Yeah, and that still to this day shocks my family.
Yeah.
To this day shocks my family. Well, let me ask you, your lovely wife here has said...
the labor of love. What is she talking about there?
A labor of love. And I think she's talking about being married to you.
Well, they're certainly laborious.
No, I'm not sure what she's talking about, but I'm sure it's not that. But how did you and Rebecca meet? I mean, you were as fortunate as I am, as far as I can see, that you definitely married up, as I did.
Yes.
And ended up with a wonderful wife. So tell us a little bit about how the two of you met.
Yeah, so, well, the first time that we met was the first weekend that I just moved to Dayton, Ohio, and I had a friend who I was going to be roommates with, who I had gone to college with. And he invited me over to his house for a Memorial Day picnic for his family was throwing. I'm like, oh, all right, that's fine, you know. And I was going to be working for the Rush Limbaugh station. Not that I'm Rush Limbaugh or that we, you know, I guess we sound alike sometimes, and people associate big, burly guys with deep voices as Rush Limbaugh back in the day, if you worked for the same type of radio station. So Scooter's parents were like, oh, this is the guy that's the Rush Limbaugh guy. I'm like, I'm not the Rush Limbaugh guy. I'm the Larry guy who works at the same station where they're, yeah. But Rebecca and her family were there at the picnic, and I didn't know anybody. And so I'm looking around and I saw her across the room. I was like, she had just come out of a successful bone marrow transplant for a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So it was the first time she'd gone out in public without a wig, without covering. So she had very thin, like shaved head and a sundress. And I thought, this woman was dragged to this party by her parents, and they said, put on a dress. And that's what I just said that, honey.
He's referencing the chat, folks. They're now having conversations via the chat.
She's in the other room too, so she and I didn't really hit it off at all at that picnic. But there is a picture of us sitting across from each other eating that we didn't know was taken. And then, like 2 years later, she came back to visit my roommate, and we got to talk, and it was the night that Princess Diana died in the accident. And we ended up watching that coverage and talking, and then she came back a couple other times, and she was living in New York City. And so she'd come back for like a long weekend or whatever, and we just hit it off. And I was working morning drive, so I'd get off work in the morning. She was staying at our place, and we'd go grocery shopping or go to brunch or whatever. And we really hit it off when the Seinfeld finale, she was in town, and we threw a Seinfeld finale party, and we made food that was associated with the show, and we had a good time. And then I went to New York to visit some friends that summer, and I made a 7-hour side trip to see her in New York City, and the rest is history.
Awesome story. How long have you been married now?
We have been married. This year will be our 22nd anniversary.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. No, it's great. She is my rock. Without her and her support and Henry's support, whew, this is a tough journey to go alone. And I know a lot of people have to do that. And, they are my number one champions and the most important part of my care team.
Yeah. Awesome. And I would agree with that. I would not make it a day, I don't think, without Cheryl. So, hugely important. Now, you mentioned your son, Henry.
Yeah.
Henri. Tell us about Henry, because he doesn't exactly look like you. And I think that, like me, he was adopted. So
Yeah.
that's always an interesting story for me. What led to adopting Henry?
Well, Henry, we've been married 10 years when we decided to adopt. And we knew when we got married that we were going to need to adopt because of her cancer treatments and whatnot. We knew she was not going to be able to have children the natural way. So we decided we were going to go the adoption route if we were going to have kids. And we didn't make that decision. And it was funny, that first 10 years, I'd be ready to have a kid to go through the adoption process. And she'd be like, I'm not ready. And then she'd be like, I'm ready. And I'm like, I don't think I am. And then one day I was in Arizona covering the Super Bowl, and she calls me and she goes, I'm ready. I'm like, all right, here we go.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so he is how old now? He
is going on 12 next week.
Next week. Wow.
Yes.
And you adopted him at birth?
Well, he was born, and we were matched, and we'd get pictures, but we didn't get to actually meet him and become a family until he was 11 months old.
Okay.
10 and a half months, 11 months.
Yeah. Well, that's
and we traveled there. It was great. So he was born in Taiwan, and so we went through that process, and just amazing. And if you've never been to Taiwan, go. It's an awesome country.
That's awesome. Well, you know me, I love to travel, and Cheryl had cousins who grew up in Taiwan. I'd love to go there, but we've not made it yet.
Sounds like a road trip.
Oh yeah. Well, we're heading to Barcelona next year, right?
Hey, Barcelona World Parkinson Congress 2022. You got to make plans. That's where Tim and I met, was at in Kyoto. I mean, I'd interviewed him for the podcast, but we didn't know each other, and we hit it off, and it was great. I mean, I made so many great friends in Kyoto that I'm so thankful I have friends around the world. So if I'm up in the middle of the night, I can call somebody like Europe or Australia, and I know they're awake.
I haven't done that yet. I've heard people talk about doing that. I don't let myself get out of bed generally at 4 a.m. I make myself stay in bed, but I think about it sometimes because Andy McDowell would be up in New Zealand.
Sure.
And could see how he's doing. But what's the main reason why somebody in Winnipeg here, or anywhere for that fact, but here in Winnipeg, why should they bother about going to WPC next year? It's a long ways away. It's a lot of money.
Well, aren't we all in the mood to travel now after a year and a half of what we've been through? I think we all have earned it. Secondly, the Parkinson's community, and I think we've all realized this locally, every Parkinson's community I've ever encountered is just amazing. This is the penultimate Parkinson's community, because you have doctors and researchers and healthcare professionals and therapists and nurses and people with Parkinson's and their partners and their kids, and we're all in the same space, and we're all attending each other's there's 65 different types of presentations or more that you can go to. Sometimes they have 5 tracks going at once, so you get to choose one of 5 things to do. And half the time I ended up in the hallway just chatting to somebody that I knew on Twitter. It's like your Twitter feed comes to life. Yeah. You walk through the door, you're like, hey, I know you guys. And I'd never been in a room with 75 or 100 people with young onset Parkinson's until that event. And then I looked around the room, and that's where we began to realize, at least I began to realize, we have a say in this. We have leverage. there are enough of us universally that we can make a difference. We don't have to just stand by and let other people take the lead. And so and it's really, that was the very, very beginning of the PD Avengers.
Yeah. Well, and beautiful segue. Let's talk about the PD Avengers a little bit. What's PD Avengers? I think everybody knows that, but that's
Yeah,
kind of
well,
where we begin. Let's begin.
PD Avengers is a global alliance of people with Parkinson's and their partners and their friends united in the cause of ending Parkinson's and changing the way people think and treat people with Parkinson's. Think about and treat. And really, we are an advocacy group. We are. We don't raise money. There's so many organizations that do such a great job with investing in research or exercise, whatever it is. We're not here to raise money. We're here to raise voices, to raise awareness, to reinforce what other organizations are doing for the good of people with Parkinson's, or towards the ultimate end of Parkinson's, the eradication of it, and what we want to do is we want to add urgency to this cause. And that's where people with Parkinson's and their families really play a key role, is in sort of lighting a fire. Because what we've just saw universally with what happened with COVID and the vaccinations is a game plan that we can follow for many diseases, including Parkinson's. It's about universal alignment and partnership and tearing down red tape. And there has to be a global urgency. And that's where we come in.
Yeah. And that is so important that people realize that this has to change now.
Yeah.
We have been waiting 204 years since Dr. Parkinson's first published his thesis on the shaking palsy. And we've got one gold standard, levodopa, and that's just unacceptable. If that were the case in anything else, people would be up in arms.
Hey Tim, let's just imagine what would be the outrage if we were still treating cancer the same way we were in 1960?
Oh yeah. And what if we treated every cancer the same?
Right.
Whether you had bowel cancer or liver cancer or lung cancer or brain cancer or melanoma or TB, we gave you the same drug for them all.
Oh yeah, here's your cancer pill.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, time.
I mean, we're just realizing that Parkinson's is probably like cancer in that there's multiple different types of Parkinson's.
Yeah.
But this is the kind of thing we need to move on. And that's the important part of PD Avengers, to raise the level of urgency and telling the world that Parkinson's really does matter, because it is set to double again in the next by 2040. And there are estimated to be between 6 and 10 million people on the planet with Parkinson's now. So if that number doubles in the next under 20 years, imagine the impact that has on our healthcare system and on our world. And we need to be.
We're not ready for it.
No.
In the U.S., the burden of treating Parkinson's disease annually is $56 billion. And they're only investing $225 million into research into Parkinson's each year. That's, come on.
Yeah, it makes no sense. When you see the money that they're spending on Alzheimer's, which is not the fastest growing neurological disease in the world, Parkinson's is, and to see the billions of dollars that's being spent on Alzheimer's relative to the 200 and some million being spent on Parkinson's, it just makes no sense.
Yeah.
So we have to find ways of being louder, being more proactive, and sharing what's going on in this.
Yeah, and there still are silos within our community. I mean, there's people that have that just want to focus on living a better life with Parkinson's. There's people that want to prevent Parkinson's. There's people that want to eradicate Parkinson's. There's people that think we should focus on the gut, and there's people that think we should focus on, the toxins and like environment and I think we need to do it all because of all the different types of Parkinson's. I mean, really they say only like 10 to 15% of all Parkinson's is hereditary, maybe less. But there's all genetics are involved in all of it. Genetics loads the gun and the environment pulls the trigger, is what they say. And so it is a combination of things. And like how many people have you met, Tim, who have Parkinson's, who are like a type A, hard charging, high level executive that, didn't stop moving, and then suddenly Parkinson's knocked them over?
Quite a few.
Yeah. Yeah. People with high stress jobs, people who have, professional athletes, for instance, or Hollywood actors, maybe, or just to name a few. But like even my job currently, I mean, yeah, it's a lot of work, and I can't get Parkinson's twice, so I guess I'm just not going to give it up.
Well, the important part here for folks to take away is to join the PD Avengers today. And the way you do that is what I've just put in the chat is go to pdavengers.com and sign up there. And again, to reiterate what Larry said earlier, we're not raising money. We're not going to spam you to death. You're not going to get tons of emails from us. Yeah, this is coming from folks who don't have time to do that. What we need is the volume of people to help speak on behalf of issues related to Parkinson's from around the world. We currently have just shy of 3,500 people who have signed up to the PD Avengers. We have 60 organizations?
Yep, approaching 60. Yeah. Including the Michael J. Fox Foundation and Davis Finney Foundation, the Brian Grant Foundation, and Parkinson's UK, and Cure Parkinson's, and Parkinson's Slovenia, and Parkinson's Africa, and Parkinson's UK, Australia, and like you list them.
Parkinson's Canada, U-Turn Parkinson's, everywhere.
Yeah.
And so we need your voice to come alongside our voices and help us amplify the need, the urgency behind changing how Parkinson's is treated.
Yeah, and we focus on 3 areas: wellness, advocacy, and research. And I think one of the most, I'm excited because we're bringing the community together. Yeah. We're breaking down silos, and having these partners on board is really key. These organizations are working together now with the PD Avengers. And they've all made the commitment that we're going to get together every other month, and we're going to talk about how collectively, we can think globally and act locally. And every year we will put together a public campaign that we all embrace and we all execute through our own interests. So if your organization is about research, then you'll focus on that. If you're about exercise, you'll focus on that. If you're about wellness and advocacy, you'll focus on that. So I think that that's going to be really exciting. We saw the start of that this last World Parkinson's Awareness Day, and I think next year is going to be even bigger. We now have the World Health Organization paying attention to Parkinson's. I was at a workshop that they held for 30 people a month ago. We're going to meet again, and what we're trying to do is really set the foundation for how the member nations of the member states of the United Nations need to treat people with Parkinson's, what they have to put into place. And a lot of it has to do everywhere in the world's different. So like in Africa, they just need education that it's an actual disease and not witchcraft. And I don't say that as a joke. That's true. And in the United States, we want more research and more access to better drugs. And, so everybody's a little bit different, which is why I think the most important thing to keep in mind is we need to have a global mission that we activate locally.
Yeah, and that's so important. And Terry Shapiro says, "I will sign up." Thank you, Terry. That is awesome. That's so encouraging. Now, when you do sign up, they're going to ask how you heard about us. So make sure you put Tim Haig in there.
A little competition behind the scenes there, yeah.
Yeah, Larry pulls this up every now and then and says, "How are people coming to?"
Hey Tim, how come I beat you again this month?
So I need you to make sure that my name goes on there. And good morning, Pat. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. And I don't think I said good morning to Rebecca, and thanks for joining us to you as well.
Good morning, Rebecca. It's good to see you.
Thanks for all your comments. So you make a good point about collaboration and partnerships working together, and I am super excited about a partnership that has formed between U-Turn Parkinson's and the Davis Finney Foundation.
Whoa, tell me about it.
They do well, this is their second year they're doing what they're calling the Every Victory Counts Challenge in July. And it's a means to simply encourage people to get active, to whatever means you want to get active and to stay active for the month of July. And it's also a bit of a fundraiser for them. But the important piece is to encourage people to get active. So they approached U-Turn Parkinson's and asked if I would be willing to be a team captain. And
hey, do you get a hat?
They've got some swag that comes along with the gig.
You get to call you a cappy?
No cap.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm being a jerk now.
No. That's great. Yeah, it's just Parky brain here. I get off track and then I can't find my way back. But yeah, so all of July, I've set up the team called Team U-Turn PD, and I want to encourage all of you to come join me. It's $25 to sign up, and that money goes to support Davis Finney Foundation, a very good cause. So sign up, and the goal then is to encourage one another in helping to establish a routine of exercise, of activity on a daily basis. So from July 1st to 31st, we want to do something every single day. And that don't think that we're going out and running a marathon every day. That is not what this is about. This is about taking a walk. This is about if you do run, getting in your regular runs. If you do cycle, get in your regular cycling. If you swim, get in your regular swimming. Whatever you normally do that. And then on the days that you don't normally do something, plug in something else. If you're cycling one day, maybe you walk the next day. And throughout the course of the week, it is important, and you will see that I plug this into everything that I'm talking about is a day of rest. Our bodies need rest. And there needs to be a specific day every week that you set aside to stop. Not just exercising, but everything. And relax, rest, turn your head off. Give yourself permission to do nothing, to hang out with your family, to hang out with your friends, to binge watch movies if you want, but to just relax for a day. And so that's my goal, and U-Turn Parkinson's goal with the Davis Finney all of July. So I need you to go to, I stuck it in the chat early on so I wouldn't forget. So it's back up at the top of the chat. You can find the website there where you go to sign up. It's my link to my page there. And join me for July. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. There's what do they call that room? There's a room you get together and you chat and you talk and you encourage one another.
The chat room?
It's basically that.
So Tim, talk to me about this day of rest. What is that? I don't know that word.
It's a day where you don't do anything.
I can barely go an hour without doing anything. It's hard for me.
Well, and it's not doing nothing. It's not a day of doing nothing. It's doing the things that you maybe want to do that you often don't get the opportunity to do or give yourself permission to do.
You know what? I did that last Sunday. You know what I did? I spent all day playing with Lego. So fun.
There you go. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Because those days are super important. Because who'd you spend the day playing Lego with?
Me. Oh, and Henry.
And Henry. That's exactly what I thought you
He
were.
was in and out. I was just like, oh, I'm getting in the zone here. I play we play the playroom every night. He's doing the race cars. I'm doing the Lego. And he's like, build me a garage every night. He wants me to build him another garage. I'm like, you need fewer cars.
All right. Well, I'm getting a few questions here that I got to answer. So,
Okay.
one person asked, "Does your cup say Big Daddy?" Yes, it does. So I've had this for
Here's
years.
my cup of Joe.
My kids gave it to me. Oh yeah, here we go. And my sister Becky Haig Crawford says, "Good morning." Oh, you're talking to the other Rebecca. Yes, and I guess you can't tell that it's ECCA versus EKAH. But yeah, but nonetheless, good morning. And so WPC. It's just we're coming to the end here, folks. So let's recap.
Are we winding down? This is over?
Well, we can't go on all day.
Well, we could.
We could. But World Parkinson's Congress, Barcelona, Spain, awesome opportunity. Next June 2022. Put it on the calendar. Think about it. See if you can't make it happen. Go to WPC. Look at they have grants to help people get there if that's an issue. There's money available to help.
Can I tell you? Yeah. We've raised over $60,000 for YOPD grants to Barcelona. So we're going to open up the applications for that very soon. And I'm one of the judges. So, I take bribes. No, I didn't. I don't.
No, he doesn't take bribes. So WPC, go to the link there and just watch on social media and my stuff for the Every Victory Counts Challenge, Team U-Turn PD, starting in July for that. And then last but not least, U-Turn Parkinson's in general. I am super excited about all the things that are coming down the pipe with U-Turn Parkinson's. We are currently full-fledged into looking to hire a manager for the Wellness Center. We've got so many things planned for the summer, for the fall, as COVID relents and we're actually able to get back out and do things. You're going to want to join our cycling group this summer. We'll have a day on Wednesdays. We'll have a group that goes out that is very much a laid-back, moderate cycle. Another little bit more aggressive group on Saturdays that go longer and faster. There's all kinds of things that we're planning for like I said, for the fall, and you need to check out the website and get involved. And if you don't live in Manitoba, if you don't live in Winnipeg, and you don't exercise regularly, and you don't know what to do and where to get started, go to uturnpd.org. Check out our on-demand classes that are led by Coach Jordan. She's a physiotherapist that does a fabulous job of leading people with Parkinson's disease and exercise from all ranges.
Hey, Tim, there's a question here. Any news on your golf tournament?
Yeah, the golf tourney isn't going to happen this summer. It's
too risky at this point.
COVID just wouldn't allow it. There was no way to make it happen.
So let me ask you this, Tim.
Yeah.
We've never talked about this. What do you eat for breakfast?
I have virtually the same thing for breakfast every day, oatmeal. And in that oatmeal, I have typically raisins, and I throw about a teaspoon of coconut oil in it. And then I use a little bit of brown sugar. Probably should use honey, but I use brown sugar. I like the taste better. And then I throw about the equivalent of one egg in it, but egg whites. And
we'll back up here. Is it like hard-boiled egg whites, or you're like mixing eggs with? Like, how does that work?
Now, you can buy a little container of egg whites.
Yeah.
There's liquid. So I just pour a bit in. When you put your water on it, you stir it around a little bit, and you never see it. You don't taste it. You don't see it. You may every now and then and I microwave it. So every now and then when it microwaves, you'll get some egg white in it. But it tastes great. It gets me my protein that I need. I need some protein in the morning. We tend to, as a society, eat a lot of carbs. So this helps me balance that out in the morning, and I find I feel better with the.
Oh, good. I'd be interested in people in the chat with what they like for breakfast too. Breakfast is the hardest meal for me to get right, because I so love carbs.
I have carbs every morning, And so I don't think it's a matter of not having carbs. It's making sure there's a good balance and throughout the rest of the day that you're getting your veggies and your fruit and your protein.
I eat a lot of fruit and veggies, but yeah,
Protein can be a problem for us, right? So those
yeah.
of us who struggle with protein in our meds can be a real struggle. But,
Okay, I got 3 more questions for you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
What's your favorite movie?
Oh my. I don't like favorite questions.
Okay, what is one of the movies that you like?
Gladiator.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. So many of my movies that I used to like, I can't like anymore because of the people who are in them that are just like horrible people that we didn't know.
But Russell Crowe is still holding up. So
well, I mean, he used to be like sort of a bad guy. Now you're like, well, he's not that bad compared to all the other. What kind of music do you like?
I listen to everything. If I have a go-to, I suppose, I don't listen to absolutely everything. I don't do hard metal stuff. But if I had to go to, the radio station in the car would generally be on a country station.
Okay.
And then I'll listen
like current country, 90s country, 70s country?
Current country.
Current country. Okay. You're not listening to CJOB?
I listen to CJOB, yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm just checking. I just want to make sure. But I'm just glad you're listening to the radio. Thank you. And then what is one thing that you have now that you didn't have before you had Parkinson's?
Wow. There's a lot I have now that I didn't have before I had Parkinson's. I have literally friends around the world. I have a speaking business that spans the globe. I have a book that has done wonderfully well. I have you that I didn't have before I had Parkinson's. There's a lot of things in life that I have now that I did not have before I had Parkinson's.
Yeah, it's fun to have gratitude for this disease at times, for the things that it can offer you. And I know that sounds weird because I simultaneously hate it. And I wish I would have never have met you for good reason, but I'm glad I did. And I'm glad I've got to meet everybody. And I think sometimes like this has been a bad week for me. Like I'm in a dark place. And spending time with you and knowing that there's such a great community out there is it makes me grateful for the community that we have and the support that we have for each other. And that I know that if I'm down, somebody else can pick me up. And if they're down, I can pick them up.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that. I had 2 conversations yesterday with gentlemen who were just doing really, really rough. One spouse has cancer. He has Parkinson's, and they're just going through a rough time. Another one who's in relationships with a significant other is just really struggling. And just folks out there who have a tough go of things right now. And it just reminds me of how grateful I need to be to have friends like you and all of these people who tune in here every week or now once a month for the summer, who support us and encourage us. And that's huge. Huge, huge thing in my life.
Yeah. Hey, Chuck. Yeah, I know Parkinson's taken a lot from me too, but it's also given me a lot. And it's important to look at both sides of the coin. When there's an up, there's a down. When there's a left, there's a right. When there's a Tim, there's a Larry. Wait, what? No. I tell you what, the one thing this has allowed me to do, if I may real quickly, is I love talking. It's like the biggest scoop I've ever had in my life is my own personal journey with Parkinson's, which is When Life Gives You Parkinson's, the podcast, if I may plug it. If you've not listened, I encourage you to do so. I'm at Parkinson's Pod on all the social media. The other thing, I always loved being on stage and doing I always wanted to do improv. And so now I have my own improv for Parkinson's troupe. We meet every week, and then we're going to end up on stage this fall. We've got a theater that's we're the first troupe for this theater, the improv theater that just opened up in Vancouver. So excited, and we're going to try to bring the troupe to Barcelona for improv comedy. Yeah, and this gives you an excuse to do the things you always wanted to do in your life because you're like, I got Parkinson's. I'm just going to do what I want. Not that you don't have responsibilities, but like this gives you permission to like be bold, go for the thing, write a book, enter a game show, whatever you want to do.
Do it because it sets the clock ticking a little bit, right? Your mortality is brought home, and you realize that if I don't do this now, there's a really good chance it's never going to happen. And so that's why you've seen Cheryl and me travel so much the last few years, because it has always been our desire to travel. We don't want to miss this opportunity. And I don't want to be traveling with her pushing me around in a doggone wheelchair one day. That's not my idea of travel. I mean, I'll still go if that's the case.
No, if that's the case. I mean, right. I mean, if she has to push you in a wheelchair, you'll still eat the food.
Yeah. But I am so thrilled that I've had the opportunity to get out and go now while I can.
Wouldn't that be funny? Cheryl pushing you and Becky pushing me, and
I've seen Cheryl push people in wheelchairs, and I watched her push her dad into the street and dump him. Right there, I helped him get up and whatnot and put them all back together, and that's a true story, folks. I'm not just not throwing her under the bus here, but the true story. But I helped him get up and whatnot, and he was fine. It wasn't a great big deal, and all was well. I told him, I said, "You see my future." This is my future happening here before your very eyes.
That's great.
Well, listen, guys, we have gone a long time today, much longer than we normally do. But I think that because we're doing this once a month, that's fine. It's been a great pleasure to talk to you, Larry, this morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Tim. Love you, buddy.
Love you too, man. And as a closing note, don't go anywhere, Larry. I'll catch up to you here in just 2 minutes.
Sure.
But on a closing note, guys, with Parkinson's, just remember, it's the new best friend whom I hate. My new best friend who I need to hold close because it has given me so much, but to hold close so as to understand it and defeat it in the long term. And we can hate lots of things about it, but we still hold on tight, persevere, knowing that we can win this race. So until next time, first Friday in July, have a great weekend. Hug those you love, live your best, and remember to persevere because this race, your race, can be won as well. See you next time, guys. Bye-bye.